Congratulations! If you're listening to this tape, you have just been certified as a licensed Freddy Fazbear entrepreneur and have been granted the privilege of opening a brand new location under the Freddy's name, without immediately getting sued into the stratosphere. Freddy's is always looking for bright faces who want to help bring the brand out of the shadow of its past and open a safe place for kids and adults alike. And that's you! This is by far the worst decision you could have ever made, but there's no turning back now. Time to get out there and make it big, or else you'll be up to your eyeballs in debt to the Fazbear Financial Banking Branch. And there's no time like the present, so let's get started. First off, you're going to need a location. By signing your contract, you're able to secure a small stipend to help you open your pizzeria. And there's really two ways of going about this. You can either buy and refurbish a for-sale property or build a new pizzeria from the ground up. By buying and refurbishing, you can save a good chunk of money that can then be put back into the business. But you won't be able to choose where you get settled into. You might find yourself on a strip mall between a Fry Me Taco and a Flo's Fabulous Eatery, which is going to make it so much harder to sell your somewhat subpar pizza. Or you can build your own establishment, meaning that you'll be in your own area with less competition, less noise, less parking issues. It's perfect, save that it's going to take a huge chunk more out of that stipend. You're going to have to cheap out in other ways, but it might be worth getting control of where you plop down. Okay, so you found your location. Great. Now you can decide what kind of location you want. Well, of course, it's a pizzeria. That's Freddy's bread and butter. But you can choose where you're putting your major focus. Is it all about the animatronics with a focus on the stage? Or is your arcade your major selling point? This is important when it comes to the layout. Because regardless of what location you choose, you'll be limited on space in the beginning until you manage the money for an expansion. So you need to know upfront if the majority of your space will be designated to a dining room, to the arcade, or to, say, an indoor playground. Traditionally, Freddy's boasts 75% dining room space, but you could definitely shake it up, just as long as there's enough room for a stage. You can choose whether you get a small, medium, or large stage. A small will fit a singular animatronic, a medium will fit 2 or 3, and a large will fit 4. If you have a medium, you may be able to afford smacking a small stage in there too, but you wouldn't be saving much compared to just getting a large. It really depends on how many animatronics you're planning on having. Speaking of animatronics, they're the bread and butter of your business. They're the face of your franchise. You need at least one, and if you're lucky, a whole band to keep your business afloat. The problem is that Fazbear Entertainment will not provide animatronics without a price. There's really 4 ways of going about getting yourself an animatronic. Firstly, buying them directly from Fazbear Entertainment. Like I said, they're very expensive to buy from directly, though at the very least you can trust that these animatronics will likely be the top-of-the-line, newest models. Though you would have to consider each one a major purchase in and of itself. Animatronic quality would be excellent. Secondly, you can buy at auction. Going to the auction allows for you to pick and choose and barter. The animatronics will vary in quality and price, and depending on the day you might get a steal or something that you can't give away. But occasionally you might find a real gem, so animatronic quality would usually range from fair to good. Thirdly, you can look to salvage old animatronics. This usually means accidentally stumbling into a closed Freddy's location and taking whatever you can find. Many of these locations, whether diner or pizzaplex, have left behind assets that under most cases are still in functioning condition. You just have to clean them up, and you absolutely cannot let Faz Ent know that you seized an animatronic off their property, or they will try to bill you for it. Though the animatronic quality will end up poor to fair. Fourthly, scavenging. Like I said, Freddy's closed down all over, and secondhand animatronics cycle around before winding up at the dump or in the back alleys behind most buildings, maybe even yours. These spots will be dirt cheap, utterly filthy, and extremely risky to house, but they'll save you a pretty penny if you pick one up. The animatronic quality is usually somewhere around the, dangerous category. We will go through animatronic aggression and risk once we get to the nighttime what to do when my animatronics are trying to kill me section. It's also in your best interest to pick up 1 or 2 mascot suits that you can wear around the building if the animatronics break down. I wouldn't recommend using only mascots, and I absolutely wouldn't recommend using any old Springlock suits. You put those where they belong, in the dumpster. So you get a couple of animatronics on the stage and then set up your tables. Even if you're not planning on making the pizzeria aspect the biggest part of your pizzeria, it is important to have enough tables to support your clientele. Or the parents as they watch their kids run around like chicas with tomato sauce jars stuck on their heads. This is also important if you don't have party rooms. Separate party rooms are used for, of course, homing the birthday parties at Freddy's. They are a great investment, but can be lived without if needing to be cut. They'll expect it to leave your dining room cramped if you have to house a party of, let's say, 20 kids directly in front of the main stage. The important part is that likely first starting out you will not be able to have party rooms unless you get very lucky and end up buying an establishment that already has these singled out rooms that you can convert into party rooms. Party rooms should be decorated with similar decorations as the rest of your pizzeria and should have their own tables. Tables should be set with a clean, smoothed out tablecloth, paper plates, napkins, plastic cutlery, and party hats, 1 per plate, along with a light dusting of confetti to add to the atmosphere. Confetti patterned tablecloths might also work. But nobody wants to sit at a bunch of empty tables, no matter how good they look. Obviously, you're going to have to serve food, and what is Freddy's known for if not its pizza, and its extremely sordid past? You can't have a pizzeria without pizza, and you can't have pizza without some form of a kitchen staff and equipment. There's really 2 ways of going about making your delicious Freddy's pizza, homemade or conveyor belt. By purchasing a Fazbear Flash and Fry oven and Fazbear topping dispensers from Fazbear Entertainment's service catalog, you can go about this the Freddy's way, quick, easy, and cheap. Just press buttons and move a pre-cut and rolled pizza dough underneath a few spouts, and the machine does all the hard work for you. Then slide it into the oven and watch as it cooks your pizza within seconds, hot and ready on the double. The downside is the taste. Let's just say that Freddy's reputation of having the world's worst pizza stemmed from the exact moment that Flash and Fry oven became the norm. Pizzas that come out of these machines taste bland, even stale, unevenly cooked like warmed cardboard, and the toppings are just sad. And not only that, the dispensers only provide a handful of options. Where you will save on paying the staff, as it really only takes like a couple of kitchen workers to prepare pizzas with these things doing the heavy lifting, you will pay the price on the quality of the pizza. Worse pizza, worse chances that people will willingly buy the pizza, and that can cut into a good chunk of your revenue. Not to mention, give the kiddies a good reason to not ask to have their birthday there. Now, homemade pizzas will require a good deal more fundage with a bigger staff and fresher ingredients, and it will also take longer to get these pizzas out to the customers. But nobody would complain, because these homemade pizzas taste so much better. Even if you used bought store dough, pre-cut veggies, and slapped cheese slices on top, it would blow the automated pizza out of the water. It could go back to the nostalgic days of the diner, when people willingly showed up just for the pizza, when kids fought over slices at the tables and chowed down on pepperoni and cheese. It's a great investment. Let me put it this way. If you're in a situation where you opened up in a refurbished location and you're close to any other restaurant, making your own pizza is your only way to guarantee that you'll be keeping customers. But you'll also be serving cakes, cupcakes, and whatever else you choose to put on your menu. Popular options may include fries, chicken wings, onion rings, mozzarella sticks. As for the cakes, you can bake them to order if you want. More work, but you could allow customization for birthday cakes, which you could then mark up. But elsewise, you could just buy and resell cakes straight from the Freddy's catalog, and they wouldn't notice. They're cakes. Cakes are too magical to go stale. Drinks can be whatever you want, but I'd stick to the safe options: soda, tea, coffee, water. Kids don't really care, and parents only care if they don't think they have a choice. Candy can also be bought in bulk, but should be kept off the menu and instead stockpiling the prize counter or filling piñatas. Food is a very important part of Freddy's. It gives the guests something to do while they're watching the fantastical and marvelously lifelike and occasionally boring performance put on by the animatronic band. It keeps people in your pizzeria. But what else gets them in the door? You thought it was Freddy? Oh no, kids get bored of him fast. No, it's the games. Ever since Freddy's shelved its open bar, the arcade has been the main drawing point to its doors. You won't have a pizzeria worth its salt without a curated selection of arcade games, crane games, other arcade games, beloved classics like Fruity Maze, Clowntown Throwdown, and Carnival Hoops, the basketball throwing game. You can even get an improved puppet-themed version. They are a must for any successful pizzeria. Though you can likely find some cheap knockoffs. They won't make as much money in tokens, but they'll probably be cheaper. Freddy-themed games make more revenue, though, but many of those, especially when bought from Faz, incur a rental fee, so it's a trade-off, that's for sure. But believe me, from experience I can tell you that the kids aren't playing the games just for the joy of playing them. Oh no, most of them are out there farming tickets to use in the prize corner. The prize corner, or likely the prize counter in your case, is a magical place where children can exchange their handfuls of tickets for trinkets and toys and all sorts of goodies. You must have a prize counter. It's going to attribute a good chunk of your revenue. Which means you need a puppet. Lucky you! Oh, there's so many variants. There's the classic diner build, that's actually a variant of security puppet that works with glowing bracelets. There's the modern box-mounted version that you put near the door. There's the Rusty Murray's model that you may be able to get cheap at auction. Or the Proto Puppet, an off-brand early variant made by Playtime Co. But the puppet you will want to fill your prize corner needs will be the Prize Puppet variant circa 1983 to 87. A very rare piece of hardware. Only a few are out in the wild. I would check the Rare Finds auction house tomorrow night and see if you can win it. And if you can't, who knows? Maybe it'll just show up in your trunk. They really do go anywhere. But anyways, the puppet will be vital in helping manage the prize counter. It has a built-in alert to detect people stealing merchandise, and it entertains the kids. You'll still have to have someone working the desk though. Unless you want the puppet itself doing that, that'll cost you extra. It sounds like a lot of work, I know, but the prize counter is vital when it comes to your business. It's the carrot on the stick that keeps those kids blowing all of their allowance on tokens. So you'll have to have prizes to win then. Okay, so the best way to do this is buy a singular gaming console, stick it on the top shelf, slap a super high number of tickets on it, and then just fill the rest of the shelves with candy, trinkets, and MCM toys, little things that kids will get sidetracked on. It might also be beneficial to get some plush toys styled after your chosen animatronics, so hopefully you got a few lookers out there. Okay, let's see, what's next? Back to the animatronics. And the arcade machines as well. Occasionally you're going to have machines break down and you'll have to decide whether it's worth dumping whatever it is or getting it repaired. If it's an animatronic, it's in your best interest to get it repaired, for reasons I'll explain in a moment. Or a ride. Yes, if your business gets big enough, you might be able to buy larger rides, though don't expect to afford those in the first year. Ball pits need to stay clean and glass-free. Arcade machines need to have steady footing so they won't tip over. No nails sticking out of the wood. No wood that's unfinished. No wobbly chairs or crooked tables. Because if any kid gets bumped or bruised and you're not able to ply them off with candy and good times, you may be looking at a lawsuit. These parents, they'll take their kids to a restaurant connected with all sorts of accidents, deaths, and disappearances, and yet a kid bumps their elbow and they'll be trying to squeeze you for millions. They're a two-faced bunch, easily lured by the smell of money. Fazbear's proper is able to wave enough single-dollar bills and coupons in their face to get them to roll over and beg. But you're Freddy's in name only. You don't have their lawyers. You're on your own. Fighting these lawsuits will require either paying out of pocket for a lawyer or paying out of pocket just to get the parents to drop the suit. Either way, it'll be costly. And it's better to just not get sued, which means preemptively dealing with anything that could be a hazard. Make sure arcade cabinets are repaired in a timely manner and are covered when not in use. Portions of damaged tiles should be replaced, and broken toilet stalls should be locked and blocked with caution tape. Pizza ingredients that smell off or look fuzzy should be discarded, regardless of what Freddy's recommends. Food poisoning will be pinned on you. A choking hazard sign should be mounted beside the small toys in the prize counter. Once you give them an appropriate warning, it's out of your hands. You should also probably learn the Heimlich maneuver. Better to get into the news as a hero than as the owner of the place where someone choked and died on a Bonnie action figure. Finally, the animatronics. Animatronics who are acting strange, shutting down unexpectedly, sparking up, smoking, crackling, or otherwise looking like they suffered a slow death, should be removed from the stage and relocated into the back room until repaired. If there is no back room, a janitor closet may also work, but it'll make things awkward when you have to go get a mop. Animatronics can be repaired in 1 to 3 ways. Hiring a Fazbear technician, which will guarantee a fixed bot and a big bill. Hiring a technician who isn't Fazbear certified, which still has a pretty good chance of fixing most of the issues and an equally lesser bill. Or trying to fix it yourself. If you get lucky, you may be able to fix the problems yourself, but mostly you'll be duct taping things together and hoping they don't fall apart, and that you don't get torn to pieces in the process. Or you could, I suppose, not get your animatronics fixed and try to just dump them somewhere, whether it be behind your pizzeria or off at a nearby landfill. But this can backfire spectacularly if the animatronic you were finished with decides it wasn't finished with you. Now it's time to discuss that little tiny caveat for running a Freddy's, and that again involves the animatronics. If you have not signed the animatronic liability waiver, stop the tape here and sign the designated waiver paper. If you have already, you may proceed. Alright, time to discuss nighttime procedures and hiring security, also known as "Help, my animatronic's trying to kill me." So, these animatronics are old, malfunctioning, and full of personality, and while Fazant will assure you that these are all just glitches in the code, they aren't. These guys are alive, and it's best you treat them as such, keeping them clean, keeping them in good condition, and keeping them on stage. And not turning your back on them because, unfortunately, because you're the owner of the pizzeria and the primary worker, you're one of them to them. You're one of the ones they cannot trust, and once midnight rolls around, they're going to start getting a little quirky. Depending on the condition and pedigree of the animatronic you own, these animatronics will become aggressive at night and start roaming the building, sometimes trying to escape, but usually just seeking out whoever's left at the business, thinking they are the reason they're trapped in those bodies. This can be a huge problem if you have staff that stays over too late or if people try to sneak in at night, because you could be looking at a body on your floor and blood on your hands. And let me tell you, making someone disappear is harder than it looks. So the plan? Handle the bots and repair them. The more broken, the more feral. Fazant's top-of-the-line fare have been conditioned enough that they won't become aggressive. Many of them might seem alive, but they're not truly haunted. But again, that's a cost you may not want to afford. And dumpster diving seems sweet until a stinking wire bear is trying to strangle you for fun. One of the best ways to handle this is by setting up a security system, getting a security office, and hiring a night guard. The security guard's main role is to entertain, or distract, the animatronics between midnight and 6 a.m. when they go docile again. It's basically giving them a target to let their frustrations out on and keep them from getting tempted to wander outside. Plus, the security guard can keep out vandals, and a security system, such as security doors and a security camera, may be able to record an incident and protect you from a lawsuit. Unless it records your guilt, in which case you need to conveniently lose the footage. But back to the night guard. It'll take a really desperate person to fill this role, so you might be able to get away with paying them less they're worth, but you still have to pay them, unless you decide to fill the role yourself. You'll still have to pay for the hardware though, and then you'll have to know what you're doing. What animatronics get stunned by being flashed by a flashlight, which ones need to be looked at, which ones will get agitated when they do, which music boxes to wind up. It's worth just getting the schmuck to watch the screens, but I think that covers the basics of the night shift. Up next, okay. Now let's say you open your business. Do what you need to, and get it off the ground. Only for, a few months later, things to suddenly tank. Something happened at a Pizzaplex or a Happy Frog's hot dog house, and now Freddy's brand is on blast for being dangerous, and your business is tanking. To the point where you're deeply in the red. Or perhaps you had a lawsuit go really badly. You're broke and facing bankruptcy. What do you do? Well, the easiest thing to do is face the bankruptcy head-on. You will lose all of your assets. They will be reclaimed by Fazbear Entertainment, even the stuff you didn't get from them, and you will be blackballed from ever opening another location. those doors will be shut. But you won't be in debt to the Big Bear and save a questionable reputation. You can move away and restart your life. Just you, your memories, and a little less moolah, and the prize puppet in your trunk. Yeah, it's not going back to Freddy's. But if you want to continue your Freddy's dream, you can sign a contract with Fazbear Entertainment, a new one. Basically, you agree to become a contracted worker and work at one of their locations until you pay off your debt. And if you somehow manage to do that and live long enough to reach that day, you may get another chance to open a business. Though you will be contractually trapped with Freddy Fazbear forever and ever and ever. And finally, the final option. Fake your death. Best option if someone gets killed at your business. Set up the body in your clothes, light the thing on fire, after you take out the things you want to keep, and split town. Fazent may or may not believe the ruse, but they're too lazy to follow you. Just hope that you never wind up popping up on their radar again. The IRS might not be so pleased to see you either. Just, please remove the animatronics before you set the place on fire, or at least leave the doors open. They might be feral, but they're able to walk away from fire. And with that, I think I've covered everything you need to know to start your new business. So, let's take it for a test run, in our imagination, with a dice game where you will visualize opening your new business. You can play one of two ways. You can play just for fun, or you can play with higher stakes, where if you lose money 4 times, you're bankrupt, and your run is over. Also, if you acquire more than 2 bodies on your premises, you can at least hide 1, right? Your run is over. Your goal is to make it through 1 week, or 7 events. Though you can continue playing as long as you want, just as long as you finish up with the final event. You will need a die or 2 dice, or an online dice roller if you don't have one. Got 'em? Good. Alright, let's start by setting up your business. You just signed the contract with Fazbear Entertainment and got your lump sum. It's enough for 3 major purchases. Woo! First, you have to decide on whether you want your pizzeria to be newly built in its own location or in a refurbished space. Getting one of its own location will be a major purchase. Then you have to decide on what sort of kitchen and staff you want. Hiring kitchen staff for fresh, better quality pizza will be a major purchase, while getting the Freddy's flash ovens will not be. You will also have to decide if you want to get party rooms or not. Getting party rooms this early will also be a major purchase, so it's in your best interest to just wait until later to get them. Same thing for a ginormous stage. Though if you want to use a major purchase on those, I won't stop you. Hiring a security guard and getting a security system set up will be a major purchase, but you can go without. But do you want to spend your nights beating back bots with a broom? Leading into the most important major purchases, the animatronics. Every animatronic you get from Fazent is a major purchase, so really, you can only get 3 max at that point. Auctioned animatronics, you're pretty likely to get 2 for 1 major purchase point. Salvaged animatronics will need a little work to get them going, so you can very realistically get and refurbish 3 with 1 major purchase. But remember, there are risks associated with those. And the risk is greatest with any dumpster diving animatronics. You can have as many of those as you can grab, for free, but why would you want to take that risk? Take a singular die. Now you get to roll on which animatronics you get. If you decided to get a Fazent excellent condition animatronic, roll. If you get a 1, you get Glamrock Freddy. If you get a 2, you get Roxanne Wolf. If you get a 3, you get Glamrock Chica. If you get a 4, you get Montgomery Gator. If you get a 5, you get the security puppet, not to be confused with the prize puppet. If you get a 6, you get Glamrock Mr. Hippo. If you decide to go to the auction for a fair to good quality animatronic, roll. If you roll a 1, you get a regular Mr. Hippo. If you roll a 2, you get a Funtime Chica. If you roll a 3, you get an El Chip. If you roll a 4, you get a Rockstar Foxy. If you get a 5, you get Music Man. And if you get a 6, you get an Orville Elephant. If you decide instead to go scavenge some old locations and get a poor quality animatronic, roll. If you roll a 1, you get a Freddy Fazbear. If you roll a 2, you get a Withered Bonnie. If you roll a 3, you get a Toy Chica. If you roll a 4, you get a Circus Baby. If you roll a 5, you get a Balloon Boy. And if you roll a 6, you get a Jackie in the Box. Don't know how you're moving that thing home, but okay. And finally, if you decide to raid the nearby dumpster, roll. If you roll a 1, you get a Molten Freddy, or, well, that's what he calls himself now. If you roll a 2, you get a broken Glamrock Bonnie. If you roll a 3, you get Toy Foxy. They call it the Mangle now. If you roll a 4, you get an extra crispy Carney. If you roll a 5, you get a cluster of garbage that vaguely looks like animatronics. It's also known as trash in the gang. And if you roll a 6, you get a broken daycare attendant. He goes by Eclipse now. So, with that, you have your business set up, you have your animatronics arranged, and you have everything ready to start your first week. So, let's begin. Let's roll on your events. Roll a die twice, or 2 dice, and add up the score. If you roll a 2, okay, so, you've been open for a short amount of time. So far, things are going all right. Kids are coming in. Parents don't care about Freddy's sordid past, and it's looking good. Except the lights have been flickering, you've been hearing whispering in the hallway, and you keep seeing random shadows moving around the corners at night. You've been open 24 hours, and your Freddy's is already haunted. A friend of yours suggested that you do a seance to run off the spirit before it really takes hold. So you do. You get a bunch of candles, a Ouija board, and the most haunted doll you've ever seen, and set up in the most haunted place in the pizzeria, the back corner by the ball pit. You must summon a spirit to deal with your problems, but know that each one comes with a price. Do you summon 1, the yellow bear, 2, the red man, or 3, the golden rabbit? If you summon the yellow bear, it arrives before you in a slumped heap. It looks like a Freddy, except older and mustier. It's very angry at being pulled out of the abyss, so you quickly throw out an explanation of why you brought it here, pleading for its help. Your fate is in its hands. Roll. If you roll a 1 or 2, your pleading with the yellow bear manages to break through to it. It decides to help you, and the next day you return to the business to find that your pizzeria is ghost-free. For now. Well done. If you roll a 3, 4, or 5, the bear is enraged by your request. It vanishes without a trace. You are disappointed, but shrug it off. The next day you notice that the shadows are gone. The whispering, too. The yellow bear ran your ghost off after all. But only because it has replaced it. Now it's that nasty suit popping up in the corners of the restaurant and garbling at you in the hallways. Technically it worked, but you're still going to be looking at a loss of business and moolah because of this thing popping up in the middle of birthday parties. If you roll a 6, the yellow bear is so enraged that it decides it's not leaving empty-handed. It takes your frontal lobe as it leaves. I don't think you're lucky enough to survive this one, champ. If you decide to summon the red man, in the blink of an eye, you're suddenly finding yourself out at a red pond. Or, you hallucinate yourself at a red pond. There is a crocodile-looking red dinosaur thing fishing. You ask him if he can remove your ghost problem. After some persuading, he agrees. Roll. If you roll a 1, 2, or 3, the red man successfully gets rid of your ghost, but requests that you never summon him again, as it was by pure coincidence that you weren't trapped with him forever. Speaking of, if you roll a 4 or 5, he also successfully gets rid of your ghost, but you wouldn't know that because for some reason you can't leave the lake. You assume that you'll have to get back to the pizzeria someday, but for now you sit down by the lake to wait, and your pizzeria dreams are basically over. Unless you roll a 6, where the old red man wasn't able to get rid of your ghost, but you were able to return to the pizzeria. In time to watch your loyal customer base get spooked off. That's just great. If you summon the golden rabbit, nothing happens at first. You think it's a bust and decide to lock up the pizzeria and leave, but as you're heading out the back, you find yourself coming face to face with a decrepit greenish rabbit. He doesn't seem real, but his pungent smell tells you otherwise. He heard your call, and he is here to assist. He can drive out the ghosts, and all he asks for is a key and permission to enter your restaurant. You agree and go home. Roll. Roll even. Somehow the rabbit succeeded, and there are no more ghosts in your pizzeria, though you do still notice a lingering smell. You cover it up with deodorizer and go on with your day. Nobody the wiser. Roll odd, and the same thing happens, though 2 weeks later someone complains to the police, and the next thing you know, you're under investigation. You're sure it'll blow over. After all, you didn't do anything wrong. You're not connected with all those kids that went missing recently. Ooh, wait, what's that mucusy stuff oozing out of your animatronics? Oh no. needless to say, immediate shutdown, life in prison, no rabbit in sight to take the fall. The end. Next event. If you rolled a 3, your on-stage animatronic has been squeaking a lot recently. Finally tired of the noise, you buy some WD-40 and give its joints a nice spray. Maybe pull out some weird clumps of fibrous stuff shoved into its body. What even is this? Oh no. Oh god, it's rats. You have rats in your pizzeria. You gotta do something. What do? Do you 1. Hire an exterminator. 2. Try to remove the rats yourself. 3. Ignore the rats. Or 4. Pull a Freddy's and pin it on someone else. If you hire an exterminator, it will get the job done, but it's going to cost a pretty penny to get it done overnight. There goes a big business expense. But what if you do it yourself? Set some live traps around the business, baiting them with pizza, and try to catch every single rat in the pizzeria overnight. Roll. If you roll a 1, somehow you did manage to catch every single rat in the business on your own. No idea how you managed it, but good job. If you roll a 2 or 3, you manage to get the rat population down somewhat. They're still there, and you will continue to battle them, but at least they'll be less noticed by the guests. If you roll a 4 or 5, you did virtually nothing. You're looking at a dramatic income loss now that the rats are running over people's feet and getting into the wiring. Expect a call from a health inspector soon, or pay a whopping fee and get actual exterminators in there. If you roll a 6, you successfully catch the rats, but one of them is severely injured in an accidental trap springing. Feeling bad for the little guy, you take him to a vet, lying and saying it's your pet, clearly not domesticated rat. The rat will never be able to live in the wild again. You take the rat home, accepting your fate, but over time, the rat and you become closer. You name him Ratmo. You watch TV together, eat dinner together, and soon enough, something changes. Ratmo is no longer a pest. He's become your best friend. But maybe it's too much work. Maybe you don't want to deal with the rats. You let them do their own thing. You let them do their own thing and ignore them. Roll. Even you get away with it. Odd, you get found out by the health inspector and shut down. And then you roll again the next day and the next day. Because as long as those rats are there, it's just flipping a coin until you eventually get caught. And finally, if you just happen to have a business that is refurbished and attached to other businesses, you can perhaps pull a Freddy's. Shell out a few bucks to trigger a smear campaign against your neighbor business and blame the rats on them. Then roll. If you get a 4 or 6, you successfully cast the blame on them and they fork out the cash to pay an exterminator. Well done. But if you roll a 1, 2, 3, and 5, they flip it around on you, revealing that the rats didn't arrive until you did, and you are shamed publicly and forced to pay for the exterminator anyways. Well, lose-lose. Event number 4. The animatronics are acting strange today. You think it might have to do with you hosing them down to get the stench of old pizza and grime off of them. Now none of them are acting right, and you have a full house, which means you have to put on the backup mascot suit and perform in their stead. So let's get that sweaty bear, bunny, or chicken, or elsewise suit on and start dancing. You put on the suit and bobble around, arms bouncing, kicking your feet a little, and even doing a goofy voice. The kids seem not so impressed with your performance. Well, shoot. What's the plan now, boss? Do you 1. Try to dance even harder? 2. Do an incredible trick so amazing that it wows everyone? 3. Sing to the kids? 4. Give up? Or 5, if you have a night guard, make him wear it. Did you try to dance harder? Really putting your all into the moves and goading the kids to dance along? Roll. If you roll a 1 or 3, you are somewhat successful. You aren't replacing the animatronics anytime soon, but at least the kids aren't complaining as much. If you roll a 2 or 4, you actually do really good. So good, in fact, that someone took a video of you and it's been doing rounds online. It's great attention for your restaurant. People are even requesting for you to entertain their kids in the suit at their parties. You're going to make a bundle, but now you'll be spending a lot more time in that suit. So maybe not a great idea. If you roll a 3 or 6, you end up successfully giving yourself heat stroke. Next thing you know, you're waking up at the hospital with a hefty medical bill. Great. If you decided to do that one incredible trick that would be so good that you could just put the mascot away afterwards, what could you do that would knock the kids off their feet? A flip. You could. You can't. You must do a flip. You hop into the air and tuck and roll. And roll. If you roll a 1, you do it. You nail it. You do the flip. Everyone screams in joy and awe. They clap for you. They take pictures and videos with you. You become an internet sensation overnight. Fazbear Entertainment themselves reaches out and offers you a job as a professional mascot. You will be whisked off to the Fazbear Luxury Resort, where you will do the flip for a crowd of hundreds of adoring fans. And by the time you return to your pizzeria, you'll be rolling in enough sheer wealth that you are finally able to expand the restaurant. It's a happy ending. If you roll a 2, 3, 4, or 5, you land on your face. If you roll a 6, you land on your head, and it's night-night forever. The end. But maybe you decide to take an easier route. Instead, you decide to sing to the children. You clear your throat, tilt back your head, and belt out your favorite song as loud as you can. Roll. If you roll a 2, 3, 4, or 5, well, it wasn't great, but at the very least, nobody had any complaints when you decided to stop. In fact, you got a standing ovation when you started taking off that suit. Job well done? If you roll a 1 or 6, you knock it out of the park. The kids love your voice and are enraptured by your performance. You're thrilled. You've never gotten this much validation. In fact, maybe you have a business opportunity on your hands. What if you could capitalize on this? By the end of the next week, you have dozens of professionally made CDs of you singing your own songs stacked up in the prize counter for sale. This is your first step to becoming a star. But you're gonna have to pay out of pocket for those. And with the professional recording studio you rented and all the fancy clothes you bought to fit your new rock star image, yeah, that's a big loss. But you'll make it up in the long run, right? Right? Well, maybe you're not fit for performance, period. If you have a security guard, you can bribe them or someone from the kitchen staff to wear the suit, but it's going to cost you a little. Or just decide to not perform. Toss the mascot suit in the dumpster and give up. Eat the loss and settle into your office to coast for the rest of the afternoon. It might cost you a little, but no amount of money is worth that. Event 5. You're working late one night when a rogue animatronic shows up in the back alley and tries to break in your door. This is not good. If it gets in, it's going to trash the place. Oh, and probably kill you. Someone's going to have to go out there and deal with it. But who? Do you 1. Send out the night guard, if you have one. 2. Send out the kitchen staff. 3. Send out the puppet. 4. Go out yourself. Or 5. Do nothing. If you have a security guard, they probably have a taser. Send them out and roll 1 die. If you get a 1 to 4, the security guard is successful and the feral animatronic is driven out. If you roll a 5, the security guard is successful, but was severely injured, and as such will no longer be able to return to work. You're down a night guard for good. Or 6, the night guard fails entirely, and the feral animatronic makes it inside. You'll probably have enough time to escape, but you're looking at a trashed business and a body to explain away. If you decide to send the kitchen staff out, well, they only have kitchen equipment, and no idea what they're doing here. But they will have the advantage of having more numbers, right? So roll. If you get an even, the attack is successful and the feral animatronic is driven away. If you get an odd, the efforts fail. The kitchen staff is left battered, but alive, and the animatronic makes its way inside and utterly wrecks the place. And you're looking at a kitchen staff that's about to walk, but won't sue. You got him to sign an NDA. If you have none of those workers to help you, you may have to fall back on the former night guard, the prize puppet. Perhaps the only thing that can take out an animatronic is another animatronic. Basically, just take it out of its box and nudge it out the door. And cross your fingers and roll. If you get an odd, the puppet drives off the feral animatronic successfully. If you get an even, the puppet is unable to stop the animatronic and it breaks in and trashes the place. The puppet is also severely damaged, which means that you'll have to take it to a non-Fazbear Entertainment related technician. And even if you do get it repaired, there's nothing to say it will continue playing along at the prize counter. It'll take a lot of groveling and bribing to get it to... Okay, that works. But the last option is, of course, you. If you decide to go out there, you grab whatever you can get out of the janitor's closet, hopefully not the spare animatronic, and go for it. Just try not to get bit. And go for it. Roll. If you roll a 1 or 2, you succeed in driving off the animatronic. Good job. If you roll a 3 or a 4, you fail, but run away and get to safety while the animatronic trashes your restaurant. That's gonna cost you. If you roll a 5, you successfully fight it off, but you get a nasty bite and have to go to the hospital. You have acquired tetanus. And finally, if you roll a 6, you're dead meat. Your run ends here. Also, another thing you should consider, if you have at least, 2 salvaged animatronics, 2 of those really aggressive salvaged animatronics, you could technically just evacuate the building and let the animatronic break in and have those dangerous bots take it out. They will succeed, but the place is again going to get trashed. Event 6. One of your animatronics, or your only animatronic, is having some severe problems. They're slowing down on stage, their eyes wander in a creepy way, not haunted creepy, but broken creepy. They're starting to smell a lot like burning plastic. Then one day, they spark out and stop working altogether. Your animatronic is broken. What you gonna do, Chief? Do you 1. Get the animatronic repaired, 2. Repair the animatronic yourself, 3. Dispose of the animatronic, or 4. Do nothing? If you decide to get the animatronic repaired, there's a few ways of going about this. If and only if you have an animatronic you recently bought from Fazbear Entertainment, you might still have a warranty, and they will repair the bot for free. Well, no, not free. As per agreement, they will be taking a cut of further proceeds involving said animatronic until you can repay your warranty usage fee. But those depletions won't be too noticeable. They're spread out for years. But if you don't have a new model, if you're working with even so much as an auctioned animatronic, you'll have to look elsewhere. Needless to say, but finding someone able to work on animatronics like these will cost a bit, maybe even thousands, but at least you won't risk your life, just your wallet and any nest egg. If you decide to repair the animatronic yourself, well, that's a risky if admirable endeavor. If you're doing it for them, of course. The problem is that you likely don't know what you're doing, and while some repairs can be easily done and without many tools, animatronics being worked on can get a bit touchy. So look up an online how-to video, get some tools together, and crack them open, and roll. If you roll a 2 or 5, you are able to successfully handle the problem and repair your animatronic yourself. Well done. If you roll a 1 or 4, you fail. In fact, you might have made it worse. Looks like you're going to have to pay after all, and now it's probably going to be even more expensive. If you roll a 3, you trigger something in the animatronic and it lashes out, ending your life and your business dreams in one go. This doesn't just apply to the dangerous animatronics either. Even ones bought straight from Fazent will lose their safe mode if tinkered around with. And finally, if you roll a 6, you successfully repair the animatronic. But your methods were a bit heavy-handed. You succeeded in scaring the animatronic enough that it runs away in the night, never to be seen again. No big bill, but you're down one of your performers for good. And who knows who unlocked the back door to let it out. Probably one of those guys rolling the pizza dough. If you decide instead to dispose of the animatronic, you get your staff to help you move it out to your car where you somehow fit it inside. You then quickly drive out to the nearest junkyard and shove it out and drive off. Piece of cake. All done. Well, not quite. Roll. If you roll even, it is all done. No problem. If you roll an odd, would you look at that? Your little buddy shows up in the parking lot after your shift. And you see them 2 seconds before their head comes swinging in at yours. Then you don't see anything else, ever again. The end. Or, finally, if you decide to do nothing, start flipping coins, or rolling dices for evens and odds. Every even, you get another day without an incident. But eventually that odd's gonna show up, and best case scenario, the animatronic collapses on stage and scares some children. Worst case, it bursts into flames and takes out half of your business with it. So it'll be costing you eventually. Event number 7. The mayor's kid wants to have a birthday party at your restaurant. If you can pull this off, you're going to be raking in dough and customers with both hands. You'll be set for life. Or, well, you'll get a little closer to getting the toilets replaced. But there's a catch. The little tyke loves animatronics, or at least the cartoony characters, and the mayor has insisted that one of your animatronics stay at his kid's side for the entire day. One of your animatronics is going to be within arm's length of the mayor's kid all day. Oh god. So let's hope you chose well with what animatronics you kept in your establishment. Choose one of your bots. If it's a Fazbear Entertainment bot, roll. If you roll a 1 to 4, the party was a hit. You get a boost of revenue and all's going well. If you roll a 5 or 6, the poor kid gets spooked but not injured by the animatronic. You don't get the boost you wanted, but there's no penalty, no injury, no death. If it's an auction animatronic, roll. If you roll a 1-3, the party is a hit. If you roll a 4-5, the kid is spooked off. And if you roll a 6, the child is accidentally injured by your animatronic. You're going to be looking at some crazy backlash here, but it's only an auction animatronic. They're pretty put together. You'll probably escape getting shut down, but it won't be doing business any favors. So you're losing money. If it's a salvage animatronic, roll. If you roll a 1-2, the party was a hit. If you roll a 3-4, the kid's spooked off. And if you roll a 5-6, again, the child is mildly injured. If it's a dumpster animatronic, roll. If you roll a 1-2, the party was somehow still a hit. If you roll a 3-4, the kid is rightfully spooked off. 5 and the child is mildly injured. 6 and the major son just got chomped. You're done for. The business closed. You jailed. Dunzo. The end. But there is a Hail Mary option if you get stuck with a pizzeria full of dumpster animatronics. Once again, we look to the prize puppet. If you have the prize puppet stand-in, roll. 1-5, the kid's spooked but otherwise unharmed. 6 and the party is a success anyway. Less chance of success, but no chance of death. Now, choose, because that kid's coming this afternoon whether you like it or not. Event number 8. The kitchen staff is on strike. Regardless of what angle you win on the pizza, they feel cheated and misled about their job and are threatening to walk out on one of the busiest days of the year. This could be a disaster. What do you do? Do you 1. Bribe the kitchen staff, 2. Threaten the kitchen staff, or 3. Try to cook the pizzas yourself? Well, first off, you could bribe the staff to stay and finish. It's going to cost you, but it'll at least save your reputation going forward. On the flip side, you can just close up the kitchen and tell the guests that there's nothing except candy and cupcakes. Between the loss of pizza sales and the excess of candy you'll be giving away, it'll probably cost close to the same as the bribe. Or, you can always threaten to fire the kitchen staff. Let's see, roll a 2 and a 5 and it works. 1, 3, 4, 6 and they just walk. In fact, they might not come back after that. But good, let them leave. It'll show them. So, now the kitchen is in your hands. One way or another. Well, perhaps you can do the cooking yourself. Maybe it's worth a shot, right? If you're running a homemade pizzeria, roll. If you get a 1 or 6, you successfully make all of the pizzas yourself in a timely enough manner. If you get a 2 or 5, you do not, and you get some complaints. But the pizzas that you do serve are good enough quality that you don't really suffer any major consequences. Roll a 3 or 4 though, and you botch the pizza. Bad. A wave of food poisoning spreads across the guests at the pizzeria, and with it comes a stigma that your business won't shake, and a loss of income along with it. If you're running a flash oven pizzeria, roll. If you get a 1, you successfully make all of the pizzas and they taste just as good as homemade. If you roll a 2 or 3, the pizzas come out especially bland, but that's the usual, so nobody notices or cares. 4 or 5, and a bad botch job leaves half the guests list with bad food poisoning and you with a loss of income. 6, and that food poisoning actually kills someone. Inspectors come in and find out what you've been doing with the tomato sauce and, oh dear, your pizzeria just got shut down. Ah well, better luck next time. Event number 9. You have a problem with one of the parents, a Mrs. Jane something or another. She's one of those types, who's very offended that that birthday party is giving attention to the kid it's for and not her kid who isn't even part of the party. That type. She's extremely moody too, and since you try to slip by unnoticed when she's yelling for you, she thinks you're snubbing her. She's talking about getting her parents group involved in everything, and that won't be good for business. You've got to do something. What do you do? 1. Try to appease her. 2. Try to avoid her. Or 3. Tell her off. If you try to appease her, you spend the rest of your day appealing to her every whim. Roll. If you roll a 2 or 4, it doesn't work. Next thing you know, she throws a huge fit and drives out a good chunk of your patrons before leaving herself. It costs you a little, but at least she's gone. If you roll a 1, 3, 5, or 6, though, it works. You succeed in pleasing the woman, and she deems you as one of the good ones. She'll be coming back every week. That can't be good for business. If you try to avoid her, you make a quick escape around the tables, down the hallway, and slip into the bathroom, assuming that there's no way she'll follow you inside. But she does. You hide on top of the toilet, listening to the schlick clop of her flats as she trails inside. She leans down and looks under the stalls. Quick, FWISAKLQ. If you can repeat that without re-listening to it fast, then you complete the QuickTime event and she does not find you. She lingers a little longer before leaving, and you spend the next hour holed up in there. If you can't complete the QuickTime, she sticks her head under and sees you. You're forced to come out and get a tongue lashing while cornered in the bathroom. That can't be good for business. But if you decide to give her what for, telling her off and throwing her out, she storms out in a rage. By the next day, you have a parents group protesting in your parking lot. Oh boy. Well, here's your options now. You can bribe them, which shockingly enough will work on everyone except this Jane woman. She'll continue being a problem, but at least it's only her. You can also send your animatronics out in an attempt to scare them off. Roll 1 through 4 and it works, running them away. 5 and 6, and someone gets bit, and that's the end of your pizzeria. Assume the person that was bit was dear old Jane, though. It might have been worth it. Just don't say that in court. But we could avoid all this. If you have a security guard, you could just bribe him to run this woman off. Roll. If you get an even, it works. Odd, and she demands to speak to the manager, and then she'll be back to you. Woof. This is just one of the many problematic customers you're going to have to deal with day to day at this new pizzeria. So just be thankful that I only had one event involving her, because some of these types, they're repeat customers. Event number 10. 2 of your animatronics are fighting. Unless you only have one, then it's your animatronic and the prize puppet. Either way, things have been tense. You notice these seemingly lifeless bots leering at each other, squaring up for a brawl. You should do something about this. But what? Do you 1. Separate the 2 animatronics, 2. Take them out back and have them settle their differences, or 3. Sell tickets and let people watch the brawl? If you decide to separate the animatronics, it's going to take some work. Basically, you'll have to switch these guys out regularly, making sure they're always kept apart until this blows over. If it blows over. You might have to hire someone to keep them apart. Well, unless you have a security guard. Though you'll have to pay him overtime. Roll. If it's even, this is life now. From now on, you'll have to keep these 2 apart. Or odd, eventually these 2 even out and decide to not hate each other anymore. Even's going to cost ya, odd's going to cost you only a little. If you decide to just get this over now instead of losing money on it and take the animatronics out back to fight, quickly deem one animatronic A and the other B, then roll. If you roll a 1 or 2, animatronic A wins, animatronic B is destroyed. If you roll a 3 or 4, animatronic B wins, animatronic A is destroyed. Destroyed animatronics will not return back to the pizzeria. If either defeated animatronic is the puppet, it will not be destroyed but extremely damaged, meaning you will have to pay a sum to get it repaired. No buts, you need the prize counter working. But if you roll a 5 or 6, both animatronics survive the fight and have worked out all of their aggression. The fight is over, hallelujah. But maybe you want that outcome with a little moolah on the side? You sell tickets, set up a little corral of tip tables, and let the animatronics brawl it out in front of a crowd of people. You can even take bets, just don't tell anybody. Roll. If you roll a 1 or 2, animatronic A wins and B is destroyed. You make a killing. If you roll a 3 or 4, animatronic B wins and A is destroyed. You make a killing. If you roll a 5, neither animatronic is destroyed and they settle their differences. You don't make a killing though, because some folks asked for their money back. If you roll a 6, animatronic A throws a mean left hook and knocks B back over the table, where it falls on top of a patron and kills him instantly. You are charged with manslaughter, illegal gambling, and dogfighting. They don't have something with animatronics, so it's compromised. But hey, for one night, that Freddy's felt like Vegas. Event 11. Your pizzeria just opened and is, so far, a huge hit. Or, well, a huge hit compared to what you were expecting. There's only one catch. The ball pit. It came with the place and you really haven't done anything with it. It's grimy, it's gross, and worst of all, you keep having to fish small children out of it. You blocked it off with tape, but they didn't get the memo. After getting enough complaints, you decide to block it off with saran wrap when you tumble inside and fall deep, deep, deep. You hear music. You feel fuzzy. You pop up out of the ball pit and whoa, that's not your pizzeria. Look at Freddy, Chica, and Bonnie breaking it down on stage. It's amazing. It's fantastical. It can't be real, right? A fully intact pizzeria hiding underneath your ball pit? What do? Do you, 1, go back to your pizzeria and seal the ball pit, or 2, keep going? If you decide to turn back, you delve back into the ball pit and pop up back in your pizzeria. Thoroughly freaked out, you have the ball pit cemented up the next day. The end. But if you decide to keep going, you step out of the ball pit and begin to wander the building. It's amazing. There's kids running all over eating pizza and playing games. You spot a slice on a table. Do you eat it? 1, no, get out and seal the ball pit. 2, try the pizza. If you choose to get out and seal the ball pit, that's the end of it. Well, except a pretty nasty headache. You take a couple of ibuprofen and assure yourself that you made the right choice. If you choose to eat the pizza, you lift it to your mouth and take a big bite. You expect gooey cheese, but no, something hard and bitter is in your mouth. You choke and cough it out. It's a plastic ball. You keep going into the business. There's a game with a credit loaded on it, so you can play. You have children jump off of a platform and land in a ball pit. Do you play the game? 1, no, get out. 2, play the game. If you choose to get out, you stumble out of the ball pit feeling a little sick. You finish blocking the ball pit and decide to come back later to do a better job. If you play the game, you begin having kids hop into the ball pit. You're about to get the high score. Roll even and you get it. Hooray! Along with a load of tickets. They smell a little mildewy. Roll odd and the kid misses the pit and hits the ground with a gross cracking sound. Ugh. You continue to walk through the pizzeria when you notice a nearby door opening. A familiar face pokes its head through. It's Bonnie, though he's yellow for some reason. He beckons you closer. Do you, 1, escape now? Or 2, go to him? If you escape, you barely make it out of the ball pit. You're disoriented, your head is pounding, and you only just make it to the office before collapsing in your office chair and blacking out for a few hours. You forget to block the ball pit. If you go to him, you open the door and walk inside to find a party room. There are multiple kids in there, faceless kids standing near the walls. They look like the kids from the game. There's a table in the middle of the room, and on it is a dark, spongy cake. It must be rich fudge. On the other side is the yellow Bonnie, beckoning you over. It smiles with wide, sharp teeth. You approach the table and pick up the fork. Do you eat the cake? You take a big bite of chocolate cake. It explodes in your mouth like dust, spores filling the back of your throat and making you cough and choke. The world distorts around you, and you awake with a start. You are in the hospital. You have been there for the whole day and night in a delusional stupor. Turns out the ball pit wasn't haunted. It was full of extremely toxic mold, and you've been hallucinating this entire time. You barely made it out in one piece, considering that you accidentally ate the stuff. Unfortunately, because ENTs had to pull you out of the ball pit and you didn't properly seal it up, investigators managed to spot the massive black mold problem, and now, well, let's just say your pit hallucination is the closest you're getting to a functional Freddy's ever again. But hey, at least you're alive. Event 12. Fazint has offered you a special opportunity. They're looking to try out one of their new products on the general public, a neon-colored slime called Fazgoo. Fazgoo is technically a toy that'll be sold in the prize counter in its own standee. Curious, you pop open a cup to see what's so special about it. To your horror, it stinks. It looks weird, it smells bad. You don't want to sell this stuff in your business, but this is your chance to win Fazint's favor. You decide to put the Fazgoo up anyways. At first, you don't notice much of a difference. Nobody really seems to be exchanging tickets for it in the beginning. But eventually, it gets popular enough that a few kids bite. Those kids quickly become regulars at the pizzeria, exchanging tickets for more Fazgoo and even encouraging other kids to buy it as well. Soon, it's the only prize that anybody wants, and you've got all of these children playing with Fazgoo around your pizzeria. They're covered in the stuff, slimy and glossy, and their faces are droopy like they're melting. Weird. Very weird. Unfortunately, eventually, the Fazgoo stock runs out, and Faz-Int never sent a replacement. Now you have a pizzeria filled with angry jelly kids encroaching on you. Desperate to get more, you make an attempt to flee. Roll. If you roll a 1, you make it to the janitor's closet. You grab the mop, douse it in bleach, and begin whacking away at the kids. Something in the bleach reacts badly with the goo kids, causing them to hiss and dissipate. You smack your way through and escape to the front door, run to your car, and drive away, driving through a couple of goo figures that splatter on your windshield in a slurry of green. You're able to escape to a car wash and then head home. By the next day, the goo figures are gone, and while there's a slew of children reported missing, it's not sourced back to you. If you roll a 2, the same thing happens, but instead of getting away safely, the goo congeals on your windshield and runs you off the road. Your rinky-dink car flips and bursts into flames, with you trapped inside. The Fazgoo figure stumbles to your broken windshield and reaches for you, but instead of grabbing you, it grabs your wallet and shuffles away. You black out, and then die. If you roll a 3, you escape into the kitchen. Using the kitchen staff to distract them, you quickly mix up a bunch of boxes of Jell-O in a big pot. You then rush out, carrying the pot above your head, proclaiming that it is the last of the Fazgoo. You throw it out to the crowd, and then while they fight over it, you bolt out the front door and escape with the only surviving chef. By the time you return the next day, the Fazgoo kids are gone. Good riddance. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to get a new kitchen staff. If you roll a 4, you escape into the prize counter and try to hide in the puppet's box, only to be met by a horrifying sight. The prize puppet too has been corrupted by the Fazgoo, and it has become the Jelly Puppet. The puppet grabs you around the middle and yanks you into its box, where you're drowned in its sludge. If you roll a 5, you don't even make it anywhere. The jelly kids swarm you and tackle you to the floor. They congeal into 1, becoming a giant orb of green slime that you are soon drowned in. Your last thought is that it tastes as bad as it smells. If you roll a 6, you leap over one of the tables, race by your animatronics, and break out through the back door before closing it behind you and blocking it with the dumpster. You then grab the cans of gasoline you were saving for if this whole Freddy's thing kind of went south, and drench the place before setting it on fire. Through the window you can see the Fazgoo figures melting away. Great, those monsters are gone. What a relief. Now you can go back to running your business in peace. Oh wait. Yeah, the Freddy's dream is over. And that's the end of that. And with that, let's say that you're ready to end your week, or just your run in general, depending on how long you went on. If that's the case, it's time for the final event. The final event. Some guy came by the pizzeria with a warning. He said that Fazbear Entertainment isn't to be trusted. What else is new? But he also warned you that no more Freddy's can be opened, that there's something dangerous in your establishment, that he will return, yada yada. You don't care. This guy's a weirdo. He smells like death and he's wearing a sweaty bear head. He's obviously not to be trusted. So you ignore him and continue with your day. Close up in the evening, sit down to print out some flyers, fall asleep at your desk and accidentally stay far past when you would normally leave. Wake up and sniff. Something smells a little funny. It's almost like the pizzeria is on fire. You run out the back door, circle the building, and run into the parking lot in a panic to see that, yes, your pizzeria is steadily going up in flames. And possibly so is the strip mall it's attached to. The strange man is sitting out front beside his car, his head down in shame. You know he's behind this, and you also know that if the fire department isn't already here, that there's no way they'll be able to save this place. Your dreams of a successful Freddy's, totally rendered to ash. So, what do you do? 1. Sit down with the man and watch Freddy's burn? Do you 2. Call 911? Or 3. Run inside and try to save the animatronics? If you decide to sit down, you do just that. You sit there and watch your Freddy slowly roast away. Seeing a similar soul, the man explains that his situation wasn't much different than yours. This business, Freddy's, ruined his life. Now he's a shadow of what he once was. But you have a chance to escape Faz-Int's control. Maybe he has a point, even if he is a crazed arsonist. So what do? Do you 1. Leave Freddy's for good? Or 2. Ask Michael to come with you? If you leave Freddy's for good, that's it. Faz-Int doesn't care enough to check if you died and aren't willing to accept responsibility if you lived, so you're off the hook. You go back to your normal life with the Freddy's dream finally sated. Though every now and again, you imagine, what if? And then you see your massive credit card statement from the stuff Fazant didn't cover and the insurance claim that you didn't get, and yeah, maybe this was for the best. The end. If you ask Michael to come with you, he seems surprised. You have to coax him like a wild animal, but finally he agrees. He gets into your car and you drive home. By the next day, you're sitting on the couch together eating popcorn and watching a report about the restaurant that caught on fire and the owner who is presumed dead. Yeah, they didn't even call you. Fazant didn't either. You're off the hook. Sure, your Freddy's dream or nightmare is over, but at least you didn't come out alone. You and your new roommate will get by together. Roll 1 through 5 and that's the end. Roll a 6 and you and Michael's hands meet in the popcorn bowl. Or is it? If you choose to call 911, they tell you to wait outside and they'll be there shortly. They arrive just as the roof is collapsing in, saving absolutely nothing. But since you're there, you aren't reported as dead, and in the long run you are able to squeeze out a small amount from the insurance policy before cutting contact with Fazbear Entertainment forever. They don't want anything to do with you now. Well, hopefully. You move to another state just to make sure. Just you, your broken dreams, and your charred prize puppet that's been side-eyeing you the whole way. The end. But if you decide to go after your animatronics, this is going to be a tough one. You will roll for even and odds. Even means that you successfully retrieved an animatronic. You can then quit while you're ahead and take home whatever animatronics you've saved. They will become your temporary roommates until you figure out what to do next. So hopefully you save the safe ones. And hopefully they'll be appreciative enough to beat up anything that crawls out of the fire and comes looking for you. But that likely won't happen. Or you can keep rolling, playing with fire, as one odd will end your run. Heck, I'll throw in one freebie roll where you can get an odd and still get another shot, just to hopefully get at least one animatronic. Can you make it? Can you carry these heavy animatronics outside and escape to freedom? Let's say that somehow you got every single animatronic out. Hooray! You are about to have a very full house, but at least you don't have to worry about any of them coming back from the fire to strangle you in your sleep. In fact, after all of this, they're all pretty indebted to you. And with Fazant possibly assuming you're dead, let's hope they do, you will have to learn to live with your new family. If this is the case, please submit an anonymous order for a What to Do If I'm Housing an Animatronic Guide tape set. It'll help a bundle. Isn't this what you really wanted? You wanted the true Freddy's experience, and there's nothing closer to the genuine Freddy's experience than a whole lot of fire, faking your own death, presumed death, watching your life flash before your eyes, and then getting stuck with a bunch of damaged and somewhat unstable animatronics that you just cannot get rid of. Welcome to the family. But if you roll an odd twice before you get out, you die in the fire. Unless, did you shell out money for a state-of-the-art animatronic? Or do you have a Rockstar Foxy, Withered Bonnie, or broken daycare attendant? If you do, surprise! You wake up in the parking lot, lungs full of smoke and a little charred, with your darling animatronic standing over you. They saved the day. The high-tech animatronics are built with life-saving protocols. As for Rockstar Foxy, he's just kind of like a real swell guy. Withered Bonnie knows what it's like to lose everything, and the Eclipse is just so darn friendly. But they came through for you, that's the important part. Congrats, you survived. Your business may be shot, but you and at least one animatronic made it out. But if you don't have those specific animatronics, good news, you might still survive. Remember the prize puppet? They may rescue you. Unless you use them for anything else. Sent them out to brawl with the broken bot, forced them to attend the mayor's kids' party, didn't get the rats out of their box. Be honest, do you think the puppet would save you? If so, sure, rescued by the puppet. And with that, the Freddy's dream is finally over. And with that, the dice game is over, and it's time to set out for realsies. Are you ready for the responsibility, the hard work, the kids, the parents, the pizza, the adventure that is running a Freddy's? Are you ready for Freddy? Probably not, but you're already in and there's no turning back now. Time to make the best of it. Because as of this moment, you are the face of Freddy Fazbear's. Better put on a big smile. Good luck, and thank you for listening.